Hi, my name is Hayah, and today I'll be talking to you about greening the world. Specifically about Hayah's journey towards a sustainable future. Hayah International Academy was established in 2003 in accordance with international standards of both the American Diploma and the International Baccalaureate program. Hayah is built on 55,000 square meters of land, only 20% of our sustainable development program is adapted to the setting. Today we'll be looking at the settings, the student activities, and the curriculum that are all part of our sustainable development community. As far as the settings, we'll look at the installation of solar panels, how we manage our waste, our irrigation system, switching to LED lamps, and what happened with our water taps. With regard to installing solar panels, in 2018, Hayah made a huge leap to installing school-wide solar panels that will give 30% of our electricity needed and will cut our annual costs by 24%.
حاليا بنتكلم في 24% من الطاقة السنوية بتتوفر من المحطة دي.
احنا جينا النهارده لمدرسة الحياة بعد لما خلصنا تركيب المحطة عشان كان في برزنتيشن للولاد والبنات اللي في جريد 6 عشان يعرفوا اكتر عن المحطة والمشاكل اللي كانت عند مدرسة الحياة من ناحية هاي كونسومشن بتاعتهم وازاي هم اتصرفوا ان هم يركبوا ليد وبعد كده قرروا ان هم يركبوا سولار بانلز. فالاولاد they seem very excited. انا شايف ان الموضوع ده طبعا بيفرق جامد قوي معاهم لان لما يكون الواحد في سن صغير وبيشوف مدرسته بتعمل حاجه زي كده تفرق معاهم وبتتزرع فيهم موضوع ان هم الطاقه النظيفه دي حاجه مهمه جدا وجزء من حياتهم.
With regard to waste management, recycling has always been a part of the highest classrooms and their centers. And in 2011, the PTA started an awareness campaign about the environment. More recently, we've started to segregate our wastes into plastic cartons and paper. And the wastes are being sold to an NGO, and the money that's being made is being used to buy more of these different colored bins so that we can spread them throughout the campus. One of my favorite campaigns was in 2014, where we recycled e-waste. So all of the teachers and students and their families brought in all of the e-waste that they had, and it was taken by an NGO, which recycled it and was able to export it. With regard to irrigation, Hayah's green areas are all watered by an efficient water system to reduce water consumption. We also switched to LED lamps in 2019 in all of the classrooms and all of the offices. This reduced our consumption by almost 50% over 5 years. We also attempted to install water pressure controllers on the water taps. Unfortunately, we had to discontinue this shortly after installation because the external water flow was actually unstable. With regard to student activities, we'll start with Warsha, which means workshop in Arabic, and it's a student-led community service event. This year, Warsha Junior, led by the middle school students, created 5 think tanks that brainstormed on efficient and sustainable waste management solutions for the school. The think tanks involved a lot of stakeholders, students and teachers, and the administration, and they invited professionals from the field. The Tawur, which is the Arabic word for development, is a program sponsored by HSBC and Potential.com that brings together students, schools, parents, and the business communities throughout the Middle East so that they can innovate for a shared future with an understanding for sustainability. All 5 of our students that joined the Tawur's competition in 2020 were shortlisted for the regional finals, and their teacher received recognition as a teacher ambassador for the program. For the past 6 years, Hayah has had an art competition. The theme last year was the power of green. There's always There's always a category where students can share the work that was made using recycled materials to deliver their message. For cleanup campaigns, students travel to the Nile, to the Mediterranean, or to the Red Sea with NGOs that are specialized in cleanup. The students are required to raise the funds for their trips and for the support of their campaigns. We Are Innovators is an international competition that challenges students to create innovative solutions to the world's most pressing issues. 2 of our students and their teachers won in 2019 and got to go on a service learning trip to Kenya to share their innovation with other students from around the world. In 2020, our students were featured on We Day. We Day is the Olympics of young changemakers. Sponsored by Microsoft, this interactive online event brings students and educators from across the globe together so that they can celebrate the impact of
Egypt, an average of 143 billion kilowatt hours of energy are consumed every year. That's a lot of zeros. Due to Egypt's huge reliance on fossil fuels to produce this energy, Cairo has been ranked one of the most polluted cities in the world. Luckily, the students of Hayah International Academy are developing a solution to cut their consumption. Let's see what they've got to show us. Hey everyone, I've heard that you have something amazing to share with us. Why don't you tell us how your invention works?
Our energy timer switch is designed to save energy and reduce the user's carbon footprint. And in countries like Egypt, where we still rely heavily on fossil fuels, installing our device would actually considerably reduce the carbon emission. And our project is actually pretty easy to use, and the person using the device would set on their timer the amount of time that they want the device to be on. And after that specific time period is done, then the device will automatically shut down, therefore saving energy.
That's amazing. When you started your invention, what did you have to consider when developing it?
When considering our target audience, we had to make sure that the device would be as easy and as accessible to use as possible. Our goal was to find all the materials locally at affordable pricing, which was quite challenging. Apart from that, we also hoped that by advertising our product, we would raise awareness about climate change and about how important it is for us to reduce our carbon footprint.
And what was the process of creating your invention, the timer switch?
First of all, we had to make a list of all the materials that we needed. Then we purchased them while staying in our budget. Our teachers also helped us adapt a simple circuit, which we could use. Everything then had to be wired correctly in its corresponding place to make sure that the product would work successfully. We then used a breadboard, which is a circuit board that doesn't require soldering. This also gave us flexibility and room for trial and error. We then had to test it to make sure that everything was working according to plan. After that, we made a box for our product and designed it to make it look presentable for the audience.
Sounds like you all worked so hard. Great job. Now, could you tell us what stage you're at in developing the switch and what's next for you?
So we currently have a working prototype that has been tested on a small LED lamp. And the next step would be to create devices that can be marketed to be used in homes, workplaces, or schools, and to be used on appliances such as air conditioners, heaters, light bulbs, chargers. The possibilities are endless. And we are also considering adding a sensor to the device so that it can switch the appliance off when something specific happens, such as when a person's heart rate drops to indicate that he's sleeping, or when the environment has reached a specific temperature.
Amazing. I can't wait to see what you accomplish in the future. Do you have any advice for other schools looking to invent their own device to make an impact in their community?
The best way to start is by observing your community and recognizing problems that need to be solved. And then when you brainstorm solutions that can be applied and research in detail those that are most feasible to you. And you need to spend time creating an action plan and creating a design for your product so that you know what you're doing. And remember that you don't need to come up with something new. You can just build on something that's already existing and just adapt it to your conditions. And don't be afraid to use your imagination and have fun.
It looks like you're doing some amazing stuff here. Developing a timed light switch is a really clever way to cut down on the amount of energy wasted when we leave the lights on. I always think it's incredible to see people stepping up and sharing their ideas. So on behalf of everyone watching, I want to thank you for the awesome work you're doing and for giving us a look today. Goodbye. Egypt, an average of 100.
Hayah's Walk to the Nile is an annual event that started in 2011 in collaboration with the Ministry of Water Resources. The funds that are raised are used to rent equipment to clean an adopted canal. Students help organize, usher, and raise the funds for this event. The canal serves 50,000 acres, and we were able to reduce the electricity consumption of the pumps by 1/5. This initiative was shortlisted in 2013 and is named Future Energy Prize in the top 50 of 900 initiatives worldwide. Our alumni graduate with an instilled sense of social responsibility. Here you can see that they're trying to restore coral in the Red Sea. Also, a group invented a hydraulic barrel that distributes water to areas that are water scarce. This invention made it to the top 6 finalists of the Host Prize in Singapore at their regional summit in 2018. Hayah's Education for Sustainable program uses STEAM and project-based learning to provide students with opportunities to focus on real-world problems. This is best done within the context of the students' own communities, which challenges them to solve existing problems around them. A unit entitled Greening STEM used science, technology, engineering, and math to solve social, environmental, and economic problems in the world. In the process, students learned their 21st century skills of collaboration, technology integration, critical thinking, problem solving, communicating, and self-regulating, where students had to create their own action plans and their pacing charts and follow up on them. This unit was celebrated by Microsoft in the Education Exchange E2 in Paris 2019. Some of the projects that students did involving sustainability in 2019 included creating a prototype of a solar garage, using recycled water bottles to build low-income housing, trying to create energy from plants, and the timer switch that we presented earlier. The CB3 is a project that is funded by the UNDP and GIF, and it was implemented by the Egyptian Environmental Affairs Agency and the Ministry of Environment. This project is committed to spreading awareness to Egyptian youth about pertinent environmental issues in the 21st century. They particularly focused on global climate change, biodiversity loss, and desertification.
We are trying to create a lamp that will provide enough lighting and at the same time use the least amount of electricity. We are also making it as cheap as possible, since our target customer are those who are less.
This particular project, the mirror lamp, here's a prototype for it. It won first place. Hayah students also won second place with an educational video about biodiversity and a project about desertification in Egypt. The PYP exhibition is a culminating activity at the end of 5th grade for the graduating 5th grade students, and it always focuses on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The middle school science fair was entitled Respect the Earth, and you can see some of their projects here. Also in middle school, one of their project-based learning activities was creating art from trash. Field trips are an integral part of the education process at Hayah, and we offer a variety of green trips for our students of different ages. School Without Walls is a middle and high school program that offers students an opportunity to learn and explore outside of their classrooms at local and international destinations. It always has an element of community service and global awareness. You can see here the students as they're diving, as they're cycling in Singapore, and these young ones are composting. These students are planting, and also these students are recycling paper. In high school, grades 9 and 10 are often elective to explore sustainability and innovation. And as part of the International Baccalaureate, the Environmental Systems and Societies course is offered to grade 11 and 12 students. An integral part of this course is the internal assessment, in which students collect their own data for their research. You can see them here collecting data from the mangroves and diving to collect data from the Red Sea. So what's next? Inspired by Her Excellency Dr. Yasmin Fuad, the Minister of Environment's words to our students on World Health Day.
If we would like to have a decent life on our planet Earth, we will not be able to do that without having positive, well-educated, motivated, committed, and persistent generation, starting from the school students, that will be able to understand how it is important to keep life on Earth together with our resources, and that this is no more a luxury. This is a prerequisite if we would like to enjoy a decent life. And on the occasion of the World Environment Day, yes, it's time for nature, but it's also time for Egyptian school students to raise up and to show how we can make a difference, not only for our country, but for the whole. Thank you very much, and stay home, stay safe. We would like to.
We started by meeting the experts, and we invited Dr. Salah Al-Haddad, who has over 30 years of experience in sustainability and environment. He visited our school in January of 2020 and shared his expertise on how we can improve sustainability of our buildings. Our plan is to communicate our green program with all of our stakeholders and to provide professional development for our teachers so that they have both the knowledge of the sustainability content as well as the instructional approaches that are required to teach them. The professional development program will support teachers and administrators by providing them resources, instructional material, and methodologies that are required to serve the environmental needs of all Hayah students. We also like to create public and private partnerships so that we can fund the continual enhancement of our green program. Finally, I wanted to say that I come from a tradition that teaches us that even if the end of time is upon you and you have a seedling in your hand, plant it. So for those days when our students walk into class tweeting about climate change or argue endlessly about the point of learning fractions on Zoom during COVID, please don't roll your eyes. Challenge their apathy by empowering them to become the change makers that the world needs. Plant a seed. Thank you.